Kimberly Oviedo, and I'm going to be presenting today for our invertebrate zoology class, the Mimic Octopus. Okay, so here we have a picture of the Mimic Octopus. It's a relatively small octopus, about 60 centimeters, which is 24 inches or 2 feet, with the arms elongated. It has small horns that protrude from each eye, and it has some other small protrusions on the appendices for generating different textures whenever making the environment. Its natural color is brown or beige, and it has brown and white stripes on the arms. It can produce mimicry of various animals, some venomous and predators, and the environment as well. That's why we call it the mimicry or the mimic octopus, because it's really good at mimicking the environment. And it's usually found in muddy environments and areas with sand. So we're just gonna quickly classify this animal. It belongs to the kingdom Animalia, phylum Mollusca, class Cephalopoda, order Octopoda, family Octopodidae, and the genus species of the mimic octopus is the Thaumoctopus mimicus. And this is just a picture showing the different animals that we can find in the phylum Mollusca. So here is our octopus, general octopus. You have the squids, you have the nautilus as well. Then we have the class Gastropoda and the class Bivalva that also form part of the phylum Mollusca. Okay, so our Thaumoctopus or our mimic octopus is mainly found in the Indo-Pacific area. The most recorded, documented records of the mimic octopus are actually found in Indonesia, which is the place where it was first discovered. It was in 1998 in Sulawesi. The distribution ranges from the Red Sea in the west of Caledonia in the east, the Gulf of Thailand, and the Philippines in the north, and the Great Barrier Reef near Australia in the south. And it can be found at maximum depths not less than 15 meters, which is about 49 feet. Okay, so the behavior of our mimic octopus, it's a carnivore invertebrate, so it eats worms, small crabs, and smaller fish. So this arrow right here is showing a small crab that the mimic octopus is actually eating. Then in terms of reproduction, the males use the hectocotylus arm, which is a reproductive specialized arm in octopuses, octopi, to reproduce, and it inserts a sperm sac into the female's mental. These are semimelparous organisms, which means that right after reproduction they die. The male dies after reproducing, while the female dies after laying the fertilized eggs. And here is just a quick picture showing the reproductive structures of the hectocotylus arm. So here's the penis, and it reaches to the sperm duct where it's gonna fertilize the female in the mental. Okay, so defense mechanisms. So it uses predation mimicry, which means that it resembles dangerous animals for protection. So on this one right here is trying to protect from the attack of a crab. So it makes this really dark color that sort of makes it look as if it's venomous. It can mimic a lionfish, which is also venomous, a sea snake, a jellyfish, a zebrazole, and a flatfish. And here we have the jellyfish example. It kind of looks like it, not that much, but I think it does a good job. Here is the damselfish, or the flatfish. Here is the lionfish, which has the venomous projections coming out of it. So it kind of looks like it. And here is the snake example of mimicry. And here's another one of how well it can blend with the environment and with the textures of the environment as well. There is another example of mimicry, which is aggressive mimicry, in which it mimics the behavior and characteristics or signals from other predators or parasites or parasitoids. Here it's sort of mimicking a crab, and in here it's mimicking a stingray, and it undulates and it swims just like a stingray, so that's really interesting. Okay, so the general morphology of a cephalopod before we go into the mimic octopus. So we know that the mimic octopus is part of the cephalopod group. So cephalopod means head-foot. This means that the head is actually merged with the foot. The body form includes the head, the foot, the visceral mass, and the mantle. The head includes the mouth that has a radula, which is a feeding structure. In the octopus, that's going to be the beak. The second structure, which is the foot, it is used for locomotion, and in cephalopods, this includes 2 arms and tentacles, and it also includes a siphon that it uses for propelling and moving in the water, as well as for gas exchange. And it's also part of the mantle as well. The visceral mass contains essential organs for survival, so organs such as the gonads, the heart, digestive and excretory organs, and the gut. And the mantle is finally what covers the visceral mass. And in mollusks, the mantle will usually secrete a shell, but in cephalopods, the shell is mostly absent or reduced. And the shell is used for protection, but cephalopods don't need it as much. And so in this picture, we can see the early body form of a mollusk retaining the shell, as well as in the snail and the clam, which are other different types of mollusks. And in the squid, which is an organism part of the group of the cephalopods, you can see that the shell is being reduced and is almost absent. The foot and the mantle are maintained, and they just have different. They are found in different locations. And yeah, that's it for that. Okay, so here we have just some diagrams of the physiology of the octopus. So here we have the beak structure used for feeding, the siphon that's used for propelling and pulling water in and out of the organism. This also directs water through the gills, that is essential for gas exchange and respiration. There is the brain, because cephalopods have a very well-developed brain system, nervous system. Gosh, I couldn't find the word. Here's the shell rudiment, because pretty much the shell is almost absent. And here we can see the external structure, and we can see how it has some characteristics from the mollusks as well. Here's the mantle, the heart. It actually has 3 hearts, the gills, and the mouth. I think that's it. Let me see. Yes, that's it. And the arms and the tentacles, of course. Okay, more about the physiology. And this is going to be specific to octopus, and I put also some characteristics that are specific only to the mimic octopus. So as I said before, the shell is highly reduced or absent. Different from other mollusks, the cephalopods have a closed circulatory system and 3 hearts. 2 are used for releasing the oxygenized blood into the environment, while 1 pumps oxygenized blood into the system. They are blue-blooded, and their type of blood is called hemocyanin. Um, this type of blood actually uses copper instead of iron as we use in our type of blood, in the human blood. And this type of blood is really effective in cold environments, and it has a greater affinity for holding that oxygen and carbon dioxide essential for respiration. They are not bioluminescent, although there are some relatives in the cephalopods class that are. Their eyes in all the cephalopods are very complex, and just as complex as the human eyes. In the human eyes, we have our vessel system on top of the retina, whereas cephalopods have their vessel system behind the retina, which makes more sense and would make it more efficient. They are probably colorblind because they only have one specific type of photocellular cells. Just one type of cones and one type of rods, while humans have many types of cones and rods that can detect different types of colors. So they're probably colorblind. They have a highly developed cephalization and sensory systems. So they have about 200 million neurons. Humans have about 100 million, so they could be smarter than us. There's research that suggests that they have body self-awareness and pattern recognition. They have strong learning and memory skills, and they are believed to tune out sound. And this part right here of bioluminescence I already repeated. I don't know why I put that 2 times. But here's just a quick picture describing how the closed circulatory system works and how all the hearts are connected, the 3 hearts right here, and how they circulate in the body as they diffuse oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, so information about the evolution and phylogenetic position of our organism, which is part of the cephalopods again. Mollusks, which is the phylum, emerged during the Cambrian period about 500 million years ago. And today cephalopods are divided into 3 superorders: the octopodiforms, the capitiforms, and nautiloids. And there was another one that is extinct, so we don't have that order anymore, and that's this order right here, the monoids. And octopodiforms pretty much just refers to those organisms that have about 8 appendages or arms. The capodiforms about 10, and nautiloids is this really ancient organism that's right here, and it's very easy to recognize because of the shape of the shell and the way it swims. They were the first intelligent beings in the planet, and its brain is known to have various lobes that are specialized centers. Crypsis is something very similar to mimicry. It's a defensive behavior, and it was developed in octopuses very, very early on when they appeared. This shows no evolutionary scales of behavior, and this was mainly due to the response of the habitat and positive effects in reproductive success. And here, this diagram, we can see all the cephalopods and the 3 different superorders, distinct superorder, and our mimicry octopus would be somewhere around here, right here. And here is just a quick picture of a fossil found around 340 million years ago, or 360 from what I read. And it's just a fossil structure of a squid cephalopod. So in quick conclusion, the mimic octopus belongs to the class Cephalopoda, phylum Mollusca, and it evolved from less developed invertebrates about 500 million years ago. They are masters of camouflage and mimicry, and this is enabled by specialized structures or chromatophores, which are cells that have pigments that are controlled by the nervous system, and they also have specialized in advanced brain lobes. They can mimic up to 15 animals, and I wish I could have found the list of all the animals. I tried. For some reason, they are not there, or the document was private because I couldn't find it. I tried really hard. I wanted to find all the list and pictures, but I couldn't. This is probably because the animals that it mimics that I explained earlier on are the most used methods of mimicry from this animal, and the other ones are still in study. They are very ancient and very intelligent organisms that have evolved to survive external forces for a long time. And I think that's it. Oh, we have a meme. Sure. These are the deadly creatures of the sea. So there's the lionfish, the sea snake, the flatfish, the stingray, the jellyfish, and all of this could be just represented by our Mimic Octopus, which is saying Happy April Fools to you and all these nice predators that have characteristics for preventing animals from getting near to them. And that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. And here's my resources.